Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever and whatever part of the country you're in, whatever time zone you're in. Today, we're going to start doing some video story lessons. And some of it is going to be gearing up toward my upcoming book. Some of these stories are actually going to be in the book, but some of them are kind of so funny. It's just funny to talk about them. So we're going to, because they are teaching stories, they are healing stories, or they have been for me. They're all based on my life and what has happened to me and what I've gone through and what I've learned from it. One of the most potent story, and it sticks to me so vividly, because I started having I'm a dreamer. I have been since I can remember. The earliest dreams I can remember were when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And back in the time, to me, the dreams were like nightmares, because I would wake up screaming from them. And my mom would come running in, wake me up, and say, "Oh, it's just a dream. Shut up and go back to bed." And if you don't understand your mind and your dreaming state and the soul, as souls, as spiritual beings in a physical body, we actually get a lot of our messages through our dreams. We get messages on inventions. We get messages on how to move forward in life, how to heal something. And if you've forgotten something, you can ask in the dream state, "Can you take me back and show me what I did or where I left whatever?" Dreams are also can be used with premonitions. People have all kinds of premonition of things that are going to happen, and they actually do. So that's why it's so important to keep a dream diary. But in this particular case, and we're going to go into a lot more of this as these videos go on, but this is just like a quick little one to get things started, to show you just how powerful the message in dreams are. And this original dream started back when I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. And at the time, of course, I had mother and father and an older brother and a younger brother. And I would wake up in the middle of the night screaming because I was watching this huge Kodiak bear just tearing him apart. And then she would come over to me, and I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I'm next." That would cause me to wake up screaming because I thought I was going to be killed by this bear. And the dream continued quite often. And when I was 7, the dream changed a little bit, and it was a mountain lion that would show up. And this will go into other parts of the teachings and the healings that are going to be shared, and more of what the book is going to be about, because the bear and the mountain lion were both my power animals, my totem animals, my spirit allies. And in the case with the mountain lion, she would do the same thing. We would be out hiking instead of camping. With the bear, we were always camping. With the mountain lion, we'd be out hiking, and she would just show up on a rock. And you know, when you dream in very vivid color, which a lot of people do, it can be very scary for a child. And they think there's something wrong with them. They think there's something they did to cause this mountain lion or this bear or whatever it is that happens to show up and tear their family apart, and you're the only one left standing, and the mountain lion comes over to you, or the bear, depending on when the dream was. So you just never know exactly what, but to be told it's just a dream, it's just a nightmare, shut up and go back to sleep, that's not the way to handle children that have very powerful dreams like this, because they do mean something. And in this case, it took me until I was in my later 20s to realize what the dreams were. But in my case, the dream actually came to fruition when I was about 6. And we had gone out to Yellowstone in a camping trip. Go figure. My mom, my dad, my brothers, and my grandma, my mom's mom. And we had stopped at one of those, what do you call it, like the scenic turn off, lookout, or whatever it is, and to look at the view, because it was gorgeous. If you've never been to Yellowstone, you really need to go, because it is a very sacred space, and it's gorgeous there. But we had stopped and pulled off at one of these overlooks to get out and kind of look around, and there were a lot of people there, and there were some people that were way up at the edge. There was like a cliff and a drop down that you could walk up to, and there was no barrier, which is surprising, especially back then, because it would be very easily fall off and roll down the mountain. But there was no barrier there. And there were all kinds of people standing along the edge, people walking in the parking lot back and forth to their cars. And all of a sudden, all of this screaming started happening. Everybody stopped, looks around like, why is everybody screaming? Who's screaming? What's going on? Why are they screaming? And then they started running. And they, of course, all turned around and came back into the direction where we were at. And still, at that point, nobody knew why everybody was screaming and running. It didn't take us long to figure out, because up over the edge of that scenic outlook came a bear, and it was a big bear. And she came up roaring up over the top and just kind of like stopped and looked around, and she kind of set her eyes on my family. So what did my dad do? Like the good father that he was, he took off running for the car. And he had polio, so his one leg was a little bit shorter than the other. So he did, probably needed a little bit more time. But seriously, you have a wife, your mother-in-law with you, and your 3 little kids, because my older brother was 7, I was 6, and my younger brother was 3. And he just took off running, left us behind. Well, my mom wasn't too far behind him. She took off also. And they made it to the car long before us little kids did, and Grandma. They were safely tucked in the car. My older brother ran around to his side of the car and got in the back seat. My grandma was behind me with my younger brother, and she was running so fast, she literally had my brother like this, almost like flying behind her, because his little legs were so tiny. He was only 3. He couldn't run fast enough to get away from this bear. So he was literally flying behind her. She got up to the car, and I was standing there with the door open to scoot her in, scoot my younger brother in. Then I jumped in and shut the door. Just as soon as I did, the bear, wham, hit the side of the car. And I'm just like, oh, crap, because you could feel the car move. She slid down the edge of the car. and looked literally right into my eyes. And I heard her say, "Are you okay?" And I was like, huh, there's talk. Okay. Since when? I didn't know this. But like any good little 6-year-old did, I'm like, sure, I'm okay. Uh-huh. And she just kind of shook herself, and then she just lumbered off. And that has stayed with me my whole life. For one, now it's funny when I think about it. But at the same time, once I learned who the bear and the mountain lion were to me and what they were there to do, it made so much more sense on why the bear came out of out of my dreams into the physical world to check on me, to make sure I really was okay. And I used to have bear dreams and mountain lion dreams up until I was probably about 39. Every time I went home to be around my dad, I always asked for protection because of what he had done to us as children. And the bear would always show up whenever a masculine presence came in that used any kind of abuse, whether it was sexual, physical, or mental or emotional. She would always show up to protect me. So that's how dreams can be used as teaching tools. Don't ever dismiss a dream that it's just a dream. Your subconscious is trying to tell you something. So pay attention and see what it is that your soul is really trying to tell you. Until next time, I hope you have a very wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed the story, because there are many more going to be coming. And if you like the story, comment below and click on the link to like my YouTube channel. And I look forward to talking to you more and telling you the next story. Bye-bye for now.